Anyway, we have a bright young leader that came to us early on, you know, and he was a young chief. I believe it was 25. At 25, he was the chief of Arctic, maybe even before that. I'm not sure. But I just want to welcome back home one of our true young leaders, you know, that eventually will come back to us. He'll probably introduce himself, and he's got an entourage that's coming up. So I'm going to turn it over at this time to our keynote speaker, Mr. Evon Peter. Evon?
Shalaknai. Jukvan Guerre. Shoji Evon Peter Oji. Washank Ogotsanitli. Nats Igochanitli, Nats Aitli. Shat Ine Begay Oji. Shadinji Olag Chigionta, it's Shichi Nana Es Chigionta Peter, it's Shalil Peter. Shahan Adeline Peter, it's Shiti Ernest Reba. Shitsu Catherine Peter, it's Shiti Stephen Peter Sr. Nishi and Detroitly. You know, I was sitting here this morning and I was listening to the speakers, President Jerry Isaac and the young people and the elders, and every time the next one spoke, I thought, well, there goes another line of my speech. You know, that young woman, the youth representative, Leslie Jones, you know, she keeps talking like that. She's going to have a lineup of men that she's going to have to choose from for a husband at some point in time. I want to give my acknowledgement also to our ancestors, to all of those who are the teachers of our elders who are sitting with us today but who are no longer with us. Also acknowledgement to our elders, to our leaders, to the chiefs, and to the young people. It was a big honor when I got the phone call of invitation to come here to be able to share some of my thinking and reflections with you all. You know, I was thinking about it, and it was 9 years ago when I was first asked to give a keynote presentation to this conference. You know, and it was also 9 years ago that I was invited to Minto, and Chief Peter John presented to me the chief's necklace that I wear. And you know, when I reflect over those last 9 years, my love and my commitment to our people has not wavered one bit. If anything, it's grown stronger. And so it's an honor for me that even though being away from our communities for the last 5 years, that I'd be invited back here to share some of my thinking. When I was stepping down from the position of chief from Arctic Village, Trimble Gilbert actually sat me down and he said, it's good for you while your children are young for you to be with them, and you go out there, learn more, and then come back and you can be a stronger leader for our people. When we talk about tradition and culture, I married a Diné woman, a Navajo woman, and her grandfather, who didn't speak a single word of English. Their generation of elders down there still don't speak any English. They still live with no electricity, no running water, and a traditional way of life. It's amazing that even down there, that way of life is so strong. But I made a promise to him that while my children were young, that I would bring them down there so that they could have a taste of their culture, of their Diné culture there. And so I fulfilled that promise, and I'm really happy that I'll be bringing my wife and children back here to Fairbanks to move up next month and to return back to be with all of you among our people. And it really warms my heart to be able to come back in this way, to be able to be with you all at this gathering, you know, just a month before I land back here. So in these past 5 years, you know, I've had the privilege of doing what Trimble had set me out to do, to go out and learn. I've been doing work in places like South and West Africa, in Central and South America, the Polynesian Islands, India, all across the Lower 48 in the United States. Been doing a lot of work with young indigenous peoples, villages, and communities, seeing what the challenges that our world is facing, let alone just our own people. And I've learned a lot, and I've shared a lot. And one thing that I learned is that the traditions, the culture, the traditional wisdom and knowledge that our people carry, the way and form of our leadership is direly needed all around the world. Not only here. We're in a very unique role as Alaska Native or as Indigenous people, where people want to understand what it is we understand about what it takes to live in community for long periods of time with one another, what it takes to live closely to the land in a sustainable way. That sort of knowledge is becoming more and more important. And so that's something that was really reassuring to me. What I saw, though, is that we're living in very challenging times, here and abroad. They're challenging in a different way than the challenges that our ancestors had faced. Yet, what our ancestors carried, the clarity and awareness in their mind, the determination and strength in their spirit and in their actions, their intelligence, is still what is needed for us to overcome the challenges that we're facing today. And we all carry that in ourselves. It was passed down to us. We inherited it, even through our genetics, that we carry those forms of knowledge and understanding so needed in the world today. I want to share with you that there are two arenas in which I see that I want to speak to today that are so important. One spectrum is what I'll call the personal or internal work that needs to be done. And some of our speakers before us spoke to it in different ways. The two areas I'll talk to about it, one is healing. The other is our personal growth and development. It's without a doubt that in the years that I've served as a chief from Arctic Village, as well as among our community, mostly working with our young people, and then also what I've seen as I was traveling around the world, is that we have faced many hardships in our lives, and in many ways on emotional, spiritual, even cultural levels, that our people are encountering a suffering and a hardship. And we feel that in our bodies, in our mind, and it's a very large challenge for us to overcome. The experiences that we've gone through just in these last 100 years, the cultural transformation from the life that our great-grandparents lived to the life that we're living today, the clashes of culture that occurred over these years, the boarding schools that we experienced, the influx of alcohol and substance abuse, some of the things like domestic violence and sexual abuse that had penetrated into our communities. These are many hardships and challenges that many of us personally have faced sitting in this room today, and that many around us know. And so it's so important for us to pay attention to that, to be able to have a sense of responsibility. Often we talk about the rights that we have as Alaska Native people, or the rights that we have as citizens, but we don't emphasize enough the responsibilities that we have to our own lives. These things are very important. In fact, I'd go as far to say that without that work of becoming healthier and stronger, wiser, more aware and conscious, of becoming trained to garner skills for ourselves, the other political and economic and social changes we make won't succeed. Because our people have to be able to fulfill those positions that Jerry's talking about at the CEO levels, to be able to run the shows. And to do that, we have to have a lot of self-discipline and carry ourselves well and be responsible. It's such an important thing. I can't overemphasize how important that is. A friend of mine just yesterday, as I was flying up here, said something to me that I want to share with you. He said, "We define ourselves by respecting ourselves." I'll say it again. We define ourselves by respecting ourselves. When we respect our own body, our own mind, our own spirit, our own actions, then it's hard for anyone else to break us down, because we become so strong and grounded. We grow roots into the earth. We build that connection to our elders and our ancestors, and then it's hard to shake us. It's something that's so needed, I think, for our people. The other piece of information that I want to focus on is what I call systemic change that we needed. Jerry spoke to it very well in his presentation. Because of the changes that are happening in the world right now, in many ways, and I know we're all paying attention to it because our people are a sensitive people. We're sensitive to what goes on around us. What we need, though, is a comprehensive and holistic solutions to the challenges that we're facing. We can't just focus on the economic, we can't just focus on the political, we can't just focus on the social, spiritual, or cultural. We actually need to be paying attention to all of them. We don't all have to be working on it. We might have different callings, but all those arenas are important for us to be working on simultaneously. The other thing that I want to share is that these solutions won't just come to us. We have to go after them. All of you sitting in this room right now and all of you listening are leaders. You're leaders in your own life. You're leaders in your own families and your own communities. Many of you sitting here are appointed delegates, chiefs and leaders of your communities. And each and every one of us needs to actually go after what it is that our people need and be working on it in that way of thinking about the whole picture. Because these solutions won't just come to us and land in our laps. You see, throughout history, the history of the experience of our people here in our own homeland, was one at first of exclusion. We were excluded from everything. I won't go through the whole history, but in 1924 we got the right to vote. In 1945, thanks to Elizabeth Peratrovich and some other leaders down in Southeast, we got a Civil Rights Act, the very first one in this country that was led by Alaska Native people, that got us into the stores and being able to start up some of our own businesses. In 1971, we got the Native Claims Settlement Act, but that was just a foot in the door. We're still not fully at the table being able to define what is going to happen among our people, our lands, and for our futures. And I think that right now the time is ripe for us to move forward. And I think the themes of this convention speak so well to it. And I was very proud to hear the report that Jerry Isaac had provided about the types of partnership and unity that is beginning to occur among our people from the interior. We have many organizations, TCC, IRHA, or I'll say them, Tanana Chiefs Conference, Interior Regional Housing Authority, DOYON, Council of Athabascan Tribal Governments, the Watershed Council, Yukon River Watershed Council. We have all these city governments, all these village corporations. We have many other institutions that our people are either in leadership of or very influential within. We have a lot of power. We have a lot of social capital. We have moral integrity on our side as Alaska Native people from the interior. And there's so much that we can accomplish if we're able to come together. I think that right now the world is, and certainly our country is moving into a new era of what I'd call a mature politics. We have a lot of opportunity with Obama in the White House and some of his administration in friendship with our people. We have a Democratic majority in Congress. We have Begich in the office. We have other friends that are there at high levels. It is the right time for us to become unified as a people in the interior, and for us, for the first time ever, to fully define what a just settlement is for our people in relationship to our land, and to set the direction for our path moving forward as a people. And it's so important, as we know, because times are becoming more challenging in our villages and communities. So that unity is needed. It does not mean we need to agree on everything. We need to be able to hold our disagreements in a healthy way, which I heard that the executive board is doing. You have the debate. You learn the information, because we need to know the information to make the wise decision. So those debates are so important so we can all know the truth about situations. Then we make our decisions and move forward as a people. And we need that across the board with our institutions. A lot of these institutions were imposed upon us and resulted in some unnecessary divisions between different groupings of people and organizations. But we can, I believe, overcome that as a people. And I think that we're beginning to support a lot of good leaders that are moving into this. And we're all kind of wakening up and becoming more aware of the importance and significance of that to our people. And so I'm so proud to come here and hear the speakers this morning, from the young to the elders to the elected leaders, and the messages that they're delivering. It's different than 5 or 10 years ago, and it's different in a very positive way, in the way that I'm hearing it, and I'm very happy to be hearing it in that way. As a Native people, if we are able to bring these things together that I'm talking about, we can have the best education for our people, best health care, we have energy-efficient homes and infrastructure in our communities, we could have jobs, we could have small businesses that are flourishing. It's going to take, though, that investment and action upon our people. Rethink what we're doing even with DOYON and some of these organizations. How could we reinvest some of that money to support more education for young people? Reinvest that money for healing and cultural programs that we need. Reinvest that money to support small businesses in the villages. And some of these investments might not give the quickest returns to Doyen as a for-profit corporation, but it will give the long-term solutions that we really need as a people, so that our next generation is empowered, has the skill set, is healthy, and strong relationships with one another. And I really am happy to hear that some of that transformation is beginning to occur among our people, because it is so needed, an investment in one another. And the last thing I want to share with you, because I know we're behind schedule a little bit, is that we are not in this alone. You are not in this alone in the position. I know that there's a lot of pressure, a lot of politics, a lot of heaviness that a lot of you carry in the room, a lot of us carry day to day. But we are with each other still. We are together in this, even whether we like it or not, because our people have been that way for many, many generations, and we will continue in the future in that way. So thank you so much for being here, offering me the opportunity to share some of my thinking of where we're at today. And I wish blessings on each and every one of you, on our families and our communities, that we'll be able to work through and overcome all of these challenges that we are facing. So shalak nai namasi cho.
When a young man, a group of young people like this come forward and speak the way they do, that fills me with forever joy and pride in being who we are. That gives you a reason, the general population today, that we are forever changing for the good. The way this young man talk fills me with great, great pride. Not negative, positive pride. These are the people who we help to educate, who we help to mentor. And Evon just stands to show that you can be native and yet seek the education out there, so that you can live in these two worlds. I'd like to thank him for giving us that guidance. Boy, you impressed me very well, kid. I really appreciate your message. In behalf of the 42 tribes in the interior that TCC represents, I present this blanket as a gift to our speaker, Evon Peter, with a check for his service to provide guidance and keynote address.